Everything you are taught about how history is recorded may be incomplete. For centuries, we've been told that without writing there can be no history, no records, no memory, no civilization. But what if that idea is not only wrong? What if it caused the world to overlook one of humanity's most sophisticated systems of historical knowledge? Because long before ink touched paper, Africa was already recording history. Just not the way textbooks expected. And once you understand how, you will never look at history the same way again. When most people imagine history, they picture clay tablets, parchment scrolls, or ancient manuscripts locked away in archives. Writing has become the global standard for legitimacy. If something is written down, it is considered real. If it is not, it is often dismissed. This standard shapes how civilizations are ranked, how intelligence is measured, and how the past is remembered. But writing is only one technology of memory. And for much of human existence, across continents and cultures, history lived somewhere else. In Africa, across thousands of societies and environments, knowledge was preserved through systems designed for continuity, accuracy, and communal survival. These systems were not accidental. They were intentional, structured, and deeply respected. To understand them, we must first let go of a narrow definition of what history looks like. Writing is a relatively recent invention. For over 95% of human history, our ancestors lived, learned, governed, and remembered without written texts. Yet they navigated complex environments, organized societies, and passed knowledge across generations. Africa, as the birthplace of humanity, is where many of these early memory systems matured. In regions ranging from the Sahel to the savannah, from rainforests to river valleys, Africans developed ways to encode history into speech, performance, ritual, and symbol. These methods were not weaker substitutes for writing. They were different technologies, designed for living societies, not static archives. One of the most misunderstood concepts in global history is oral tradition. It is often described as stories passed down by word of mouth, implying fragility or inaccuracy. In reality, African oral traditions were governed by strict rules. Certain individuals were trained from childhood to memorize genealogies, treaties, migrations, laws, and cosmologies, sometimes spanning hundreds of years. These were not casual storytellers. They were living archives. Among the Mande peoples of West Africa, they were known as griots, historians, genealogists, diplomats, and cultural guardians. A griot's role was not entertainment. It was preservation. Accuracy mattered because history was tied to land ownership, leadership legitimacy, and social order. Mistakes were corrected publicly. Deviations were challenged. Memory was communal, not individual. This made the system resilient. African societies did not rely on memory alone. They built memory systems, repetition through song, chronology embedded in rhythm, information layered into proverbs, praise poetry, and ritual cycles. In many cultures, history was tied to seasons. Events were remembered by droughts, floods, rains, and migrations. Time was not abstract, it was lived. In Ethiopia, praise names encoded political events. In Yoruba societies, personal and communal praise poetry carried lineage, achievement, and moral instruction. These systems ensured that history was not locked away. It was practiced. Every ceremony reinforced memory. Every recitation renewed knowledge. Africa also recorded history visually, just not always alphabetically. Symbols carried meaning. In West Africa, Adinkra symbols represented philosophical concepts, social values, and historical experiences. Each symbol was a compressed narrative. To understand it was to understand the story behind it. In Central and Southern Africa, scarification patterns, regalia, and architecture communicated lineage, status, and collective memory. Objects were not decorative. They were mnemonic devices. They helped societies remember who they were, where they came from, and what they had survived.
History in Africa was not passed down passively. It was taught deliberately. Children learned through observation, repetition, and participation. They absorbed history while learning how to farm, build, govern, and worship. Knowledge was embedded in daily life. This meant history was not distant. It was intimate. And because it was shared across the community, it could not be easily erased. Even when kingdoms fell, even when borders shifted, memory endured. Africa's past was preserved through oral traditions, structured memory systems, trained historians like griots, symbolic communication, and cultural transmission, all of which functioned as valid and sophisticated historical methodologue. So why was this history dismissed for so long? The answer lies less in evidence and more in frameworks. Early European historians defined history narrowly as written documentation, preferably in familiar scripts. Knowledge that did not fit this model was labeled myth or folklore. Colonial education systems reinforced this hierarchy, privileging written records over lived knowledge. Funding followed those assumptions. So did academic recognition. This exclusion was not always driven by malice, but it produced a lasting imbalance. Entire civilizations were judged not by what they knew, but by how they recall. Today, archaeology, linguistics, anthropology, and genetics are changing that picture. Oral histories are now cross-referenced with material evidence. And again, they align. Migration routes, king lists, environmental events. What was once dismissed is now being validated, not because it was rewritten, but because it was finally taken seriously. Africa did not lack history. It preserved it differently. History is not defined by ink. It is defined by memory, continuity, and meaning. Africa's past reminds us that human knowledge does not exist in only one form. When we expand our understanding of how history is recorded, we don't just recover Africa's story, we recover humanity's. Because before books, before paper, before writing, there was memory. If stories like this matter, subscribe for more untold history.